Oh yeah, I just wanted to share a few techniques, a few thoughts on fear. It's rampant at the moment, and we talk a lot, especially in sort of spiritual circles, about returning ourselves to balance. And I kind of been thinking, maybe a lot of people don't know how to do that, or maybe they've never been shown. So I'm kind of hoping to guide you through some of that today and give you some techniques that we can put into practice. And it's going to give us a sense of calm and also a sense of control, because that's lacking at the moment, isn't it? So control over self is vital. What's happening is that fear will start in the brain. Something will trigger that. And it will spread throughout the body. It causes literally changes within the body. And it's doing that so as we can get ready to defend ourselves, to ensure our survival. So we're getting ready to fight, flight, fawn. The body's flooded with adrenaline, which raises your heart rate and also your blood pressure. Imagine, this is really effective. It's kept the human species going, hasn't it? But imagine for me, we're walking along the road and suddenly a lion jumps out in front of us. Immediately we're going to have that biological response. Now, in my story, we're going to free ourselves from the lion and we're going to go on. And what happens then is the body will release the adrenaline and it will all settle back down. The threat has passed, so we can return to a state of balance. We might not go down that road again to meet the lion, but we're back in balance. What's happening at the moment is that the fear is being thrust at us 24 hours a day. It doesn't matter where we go, whether we're in the shop, whether everywhere is fear. So for a lot of people, they're not returning to a state of calm. They're constantly being flooded with adrenaline. And the more of this content we're consuming, it's building up. So the idea of adrenaline is to be released from the body when you don't need it. And again, we haven't been taught how to do that. And if we store up adrenaline and we're not doing anything with it, it leads to panic attacks and all sorts of stuff. So it's vitally important we learn how to, it's called self-soothing, isn't it? It's get us back down from that place of survival to thriving. So very detrimental to be in this heightened state all the while. It lowers our immunity, it lowers our mental health, it lowers our emotional health. And we might even find we start to do things in order to compensate, to give ourselves a sense of control. And we don't want to go down that route. We want to be able to notice in ourselves when something's off balance. Okay, this is how I feel and this is what I'm going to do about it. So I thought I'd like to share a few techniques. Before I do that, I also want to mention the brain's part in all this and what the brain loves to do. Again, don't forget, there's a reptilian part of the brain and its only job is to ensure our survival. It's been there since time began, it's been there. So it's called a reptilian, not reptile, before everyone pulls me up on that. It's reptilian. So the brain wants to keep you safe as well. It wants to keep you from harm. So what it will do is we'll start to invent rather fanciful stories. So it might say to you, it will give you a scenario. Let's keep this simple. Maybe you've gone out for a walk and there's a thought suddenly, oh my goodness, I've left my straighteners on. Now, the fact that they're going to turn themselves off in an hour because they've got an automatic switch won't come into it. What the brain will do, it will show you, the house on fire, all your stuff gone. It will go on, it will take you to a dark place. Now, the trick is to recognise what it's called catastrophizing. It's vital we start to notice when we are catastrophizing and bring it back down to the truth. The brain, as I say, it's a brilliant machine, isn't it? But it wants to keep us surviving, no matter what the cost, and it will do some rather rotten tricks on us in order to ensure that. So one thing we can do, if you are noticing that you're fluctuating, or if you are in that heightened state that we're talking about, it's important that we learn to release this, because it's not going to kind of go anywhere on its own. Animals do it beautifully. If you've ever watched a nature documentary or anything like that, if an animal has a fright, what it will do is it will run. Fight or flight kicks in, it will run till it gets to a safe place. Then what animals do is they shake their whole bodies, and that releases it, and then they're back to a state of balance. So I have a good shake now and again if it all gets too much. I don't do it in public, in Tesco, not the right place, but certainly if you can feel you're full of energy, almost like to the point you're starting to pace, that's your cue. Shake your arms, shake your legs. It works beautifully. We've got all these tricks, we've got all these ways to restore balance, but unfortunately we haven't really been taught them, have we? So what I'd like to start with is to sit yourself somewhere comfortable, somewhere where hopefully you're not going to be disturbed for about 10 minutes. And I'm going to show you a couple of exercises that are going to start to help. Now, we're aware that our nervous systems are in a state of fight or flight, so let's start there. And what I'd like you to do is, you can close your eyes and you can keep looking at me, your shout. But I'd like us just to notice what we can hear. 2 or 3 things. What can we hear right now? I can hear birds. I can hear my breath. And more birds. Okay. What can I see? What can you see? 3 things. I can see the view out my window. I can see all the things in my office. And I can see myself in the camera because I'm looking at it. What can you smell? Any smells around? I can smell my coffee. I've just put it on the side. I've just put a scented candle on. I can smell that. That's lovely. And I can smell the conditioner on my clothes. So that's nice. What can you feel? I can feel my bum on the chair. I can feel my jumper on my skin. And as I did that, then I could feel my tongue, sorry, my tooth on my lip. What can you taste? I can taste a bit of Marmite, that was breakfast. And I can taste some coffee that I just drunk. Okay. So you and I have just checked our surroundings. And everything's safe. In this moment, we are safe. We've scanned. There's no danger coming to us immediately. There's nothing out there that's going to hurt. Actually, we're safe in this moment. Can you feel a little bit of calm there? We've took the time. We've surveyed. We've made sure we're safe. I recommend you do that 3 times a day if anxiety is high, or if you're well aware you're in a state of emotion. 3 times a day, beautiful. It's about getting a toolbox together to deal with these hard, challenging times. And that is one thing I know that will bring us to a state of balance, or certainly if you are really up here, it'll bring you to a state of calm where we can stop the catastrophizing and we can kind of, okay, I'm safe. In this moment, I'm safe. In this moment, it's all we've got, isn't it? With the best will in the world. So in this moment, we are safe. Now, the second exercise I'd like to try is we've got a point. I hope you can, yes, you can see. So here, I'd like you just to press quite firmly. And just feel that. Don't hurt yourself, don't do it too hard, but I just want you to press that point and then just relax. And we're going to do some breath work. Breath work, not spoken about enough. We tend to breathe quite shallowly, and we breathe from the chest, but we're supposed to be breathing from the tummy. Newborn babies do this beautifully. They breathe from their stomachs, and then as we get older, we tend to breathe from here a bit. So I'm going to go back to basics today. So what we tend to do, especially with panic attacks, things like that, we're kind of taught to breathe in. So actually feel that, it tenses the body up. So I'm going to ask us, before we start, to breathe out through the mouth. And I want some noise behind it. Now, let's breathe in. I'll tell you what we're going to do before we do it. We're going to breathe into the count of 5. We're going to hold it. And we're going to blow out through the mouth to the count of 7. So let's start. We're going to breathe in through the nose to the count of 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hold. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and rest. I'd like to do it again. I want to breathe in through the nose to the count of 5. Let's do it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hold. Out through the mouth. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And again, in through the nose. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hold. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Wonderful. Pop your hand here. Women and some men, but mostly women, we talk about feeling here. We get funny feelings here and in our solar plexus, in our stomach area. Men, a lot of men talk about having feelings in the head. So it's kind of quite a difference. But if you are a chap that's watching and you can relate to this, pop your hand here. And I don't want no thought. I just want the first answer that comes to your head here when I ask you some questions. Are you aware of anything there? People sort of talk about, yeah, I've got a feeling here. And I'm going to ask you the question, what colour is it? It could be pink. What shape is it? So it could be a blob, it could be a triangle, it could be an oblong. And my next question is it moving at all, or is it stationary? So if you're where it's moving, that's cool. If it's stationary, that's cool too. It doesn't matter. We're not looking for any answer here. But what we're doing is we're taking the time to be with that feeling. So perhaps that feeling's a little bit of anxiety. We've offered ourselves the hand, which is an act of self-care, where we're taking the time to sit with this rather than ignore it and get on with the ironing, hoping it will pass. We're actually taking the time to tend to self. If you had a little child running around and they sort of said, Mummy, Daddy, I feel really sort of anxious, you wouldn't say, oh, don't be so silly, go and go to your room. Hopefully you wouldn't. You'd take the time, you'd offer them the hand, come here. And you say, what's wrong? What does it feel like? And you'd want that person to feel, your child to feel better, wouldn't you? And I want to start to adopt that and offer it to self. So just by doing this simple exercise, what am I feeling? What colour is it? What shape is it? Does it move? It's allowing you to be present with a feeling. We haven't been taught how to handle our emotions. It's been a hugely kept secret. And you're seeing at the moment people are running amok with their emotional responses. So it all sounds quite the same. It's all angry. It's all very low level stuff at the moment. People are churning out. So what tends to happen in the world is we'll see something. We're already in this heightened state. So rather than acknowledge, oh gosh, that's caused a reaction in me, we want to hit out. We want to get our point across. We want to shout louder than the person who's caused us to trigger. So it takes emotional maturity to do this and to be prepared to do it. But let's own what's ours and not put it out there into the ether, because it's gathering momentum. Fear, there's two ways of fear, isn't there? There could be fear of the virus, let's call it for what it is. There could also be, a lot of people are also feared of the flip side of that, the control, the how we're living now. So it's vital, we've got to take the time to stop, to check in, and you will find that these practices bring you to a state of balance. I've learned to be very in tune with myself, so I can pick up on this quite quickly now when I'm out of balance, or if there's something wrong, or if I'm being emotionally triggered. And I will sit and I will, if I can catch it in time, and sometimes, you know, I might be a little bit fratty until I catch on, but then I can go away and tend to myself. So I'd love you all to try this and to give me some feedback on it. It's tried and tested methods that are simple. We've been given this illusion that healing, self-care, self-love has to be hugely complicated. It doesn't. It's within us all. The body does automatic things, but we have the antidote. Please remember that. We have the antidote. So if we can just, like I say, stop. Gosh, okay, I need to go and tend to myself. We will find that we're coming back to the point of balance better. Now, that's not to say we've all got to walk around with a perpetual smile on our face. It's to be real, isn't it? But this is an act of, okay, that's not his responsibility, I'm feeling like this. It's not theirs to soothe me. It's mine. It's time to go within and to look after self. I mentioned yesterday in my video, at the moment, the energy is thick, heavy and coming at us with gusto. So it's going to be how we respond to this now. Are we going to meet, it with fear? Or are we going to meet it in a balanced place? Because I think if we can get to a balanced place to deal with all this, we're going to have a much better outcome than if we're all reverting back to our child in that emotional state, because that's what we're seeing. Start to see this, especially, you know, maybe on our interactions on social media, lots of people are coming from a very frightened child place. So logic and reason's going out the window. Look after yourselves. This is challenging times. We don't know how long this is going to be around. We don't know the outcome. We don't know what's happening. So let's not overthink what we don't know. Let's deal with what we do. I'm a great one, especially in therapy, for dealing with evidence. The evidence suggests to me today, I am safe, I am well, I am healthy. And I'm going to repeat that. I'm going to repeat that. And if I wake up tomorrow and I'm not feeling balanced, my first point of call tomorrow is going to be to make sure that I am in a nice, secure place to go forward with my day. I'm going to leave you with them thoughts. Please give me some feedback. It's really helpful to me to know if I'm putting this across properly, if I'm explaining it enough. And thank you. My videos yesterday, you all sort of said that really helped, so that was really nice to hear. I'll leave you with that. Have a day. Have a day of being present with self. Have a day of looking after yourself as you would if you were in charge of a child today. Think about your emotional body as a child, if you like. It's easier sometimes. It's easier to look after others than self, isn't it? Again, another illusion that we've been sold. But we have to come back to dealing and caring and calming the self. It's vital. As I say, you wouldn't leave a child in distress on the chair saying, oh, shut up, get on with it. You would tend, you would love, you would care. And we need to start going back to doing that for ourselves. So have a day, and I will speak to you soon.